I knew that a notification might come this year or maybe after 1 year, and it was not a wise decision to wait for the notification.
Right.
So as soon as I made the decision, I started looking for because I was an outsider for at least finance sector. So I
Right.
thought of looking for any guidance.
So Sudhanshu is like an engineer, and to clear SEBI Grade A exam in the very first attempt, you have to learn from Sudhanshu. Sudhanshu, I have a lot of questions, but ये मेरे को हजम नहीं हो रहा था सर. एक engineer, that too in the first attempt, it's a very big thing. Secret of success क्या है?
मैं तो पूरी कुछ को जान चुके तुम.
नहीं मतलब I know many commerce and accounts people, they clear in the first attempt, but एक engineer के लिए पहले दफ़ा it's like a bigger thing. So कैसे हुआ? Please come here.
सर मेनली तो आई थिंक सबसे पहले ये था कि वो जो सब्जेक्ट थे वो नए थे, तो मेरे को कोई आइडिया नहीं था कुछ सब्जेक्ट का. तो मैंने बेसिकली जो सोर्सेज थे एडुटैप में, मैंने सोचा कि इसमें जितना है मैं पढ़ लेता हूँ. और लिटरली मैंने ऐसा सोचा कि अब क्योंकि मेरे पास ज़्यादा चॉइस है नहीं, इसके अलावा मैं बाहर जाऊँगा, बुक पढ़ने में बहुत टाइम लगेगा, तो मैंने काफ़ी बार रिवाइज मतलब लिटरली बहुत बार कर लिया था. तो फिर आई थिंक वही होगा, मेरे को लगता है कि बार बार रिवाइज करके मोस्टली चीज़ें याद हो गई थी. और फिर लक भी थोड़ा सा फैक्टर था कि इंटरव्यू में अच्छे मार्क्स मिल गए.
कितने?
12.4.
And
वो तो 10-11
मेरे को लग रहा था कि कम मिलेगा, तो फिर
मतलब आपने अच्छा ही किया होगा.
और सर फोड़ा है, ऑल इंडिया रैंक 22 है.
वाह.
So almost like अगर आप and so he has the SEBI Gold course, and during get to know he was telling me कि मैंने पूरा कोर्स देखा है. He is the first student जो पहली बार पूरा गोल्ड कंप्लीट कर लिया है.
हाँ मतलब काफ़ी उसमें ज़्यादा, तो मेरे को लगता था कि है ज़्यादा, पर मैंने एक बार देखा था मतलब सब पढ़ के, तो आई थिंक वो होगा एक पॉइंट.
And Sudhanshu, this is our wall of fame. ये आपकी एक इमेज यहाँ पे हमें लगानी है. So if you can put it over here, I think. Please come. It's a very proud moment for you. And again, this is your achievers badge. You can put it around your coat. Easy. Right. And this is our book.
Tired.
इसको ये so अब इसको पिंक
संजय राजेश आ रहे दो बुक्स.
and this is our book which will help you to grow your money, which you will earn see.
वैसे भी स्टॉक मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर सकते ना.
किसी और के नाम पे कर लेना. मेरा एक कॉमन क्वेश्चन है दोनों से, लाइक दे आर द बोथ सब्सक्राइबर टू EduTap. So एक आपसे और आपसे, like what is the one feature which you think is like best for EduTap course? Like दोनों एक पहले आपसे.
ऑनेस्ट चाहिए, नहीं है तो वो भी बता दो दैट इट इज जस्ट लाइक एनी अदर कोर्स. कोई ऐसे वो नहीं है. ऑनेस्ट.
EduTap में एक मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि आप लोग बच्चों पे फोकस करते हो कि बच्चों को आपको सक्सेसफुल बनाना है. ये नहीं कि बस आपने बिजनेस खोल लिया, आपको पैसे कमाने, वो आपका गोल है ही नहीं. इवन आप मतलब आप सेल करके भूल नहीं जाते हो. आप जब तक वो बच्चा सिलेक्ट नहीं हो जाता, आप उस पर फोकस रखते हो. तो ये मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है.
आपका
सर मैं 2 पॉइंट बोलूँगा. पहला तो आई थिंक वो जो मॉक्स होते हैं सेबी के जो होते हैं वो बहुत ही यूज़फुल है, मैं एक वो बोलता हूँ. और सेकंड चीज़ जो वीकली मेंटल टॉक होती है सर, मतलब वो कई बार ऐसा होता है ना कि इंसान बिल्कुल परेशान रहता है क्या होगा, तो वो सुबह सुबह उठ के जिस सगी भी नींद में आवाज़ सुन के एकदम नींद में मैं तो करता था, तो फिर मैं था चलो ठीक है कोई तो है जो साथ में है पूरी जर्नी में. तो आई थिंक वो काफ़ी मतलब एक होप देता है और सपोर्ट भी.
बहुत ज़्यादा ठंड थी तो कभी कभार लेट उठते थे. बहुत बार मन करता था कि यार जान दो यार, तो लगता था नहीं यार चाहे 10 मिनट लेट है बट लेट शुरू करते हैं. एंड ऑल दी पीपल यूज्ड टू बी देयर. मतलब शायद कोई छोड़ जाता बट 30-40 पीपल यूज्ड टू बी देयर. तो मज़ा आता है. मतलब सुबह वाली मेंटल टॉक ना बहुत लंबी जाती है, 8:30 पौने 9 तक. सो उसमें मुझे भी बहुत मज़ा आता है. लोग दिल खोल के पूछते हैं कि क्या चैलेंजेस हैं, क्या उनको करना चाहिए.
खाई
आप कुछ जोड़ना चाहोगे इस पे या कुछ आपके अपने रिव्यूज?
मेरा मानना तो ये है कि मतलब क्योंकि अगर कोई बाहर से आ रहा है, जैसे कोई इंजीनियर है जिसको एक्सपर्टीज़ नहीं है इस फील्ड में, तो आई थिंक उनको एक सोर्स पे ट्रस्ट करना चाहिए. अब मैंने मतलब ऐसे एवेलुएट किए 2-3 ऑप्शन और फिर EduTap पे आया मैं. और क्योंकि मैं बिल्कुल बिगिनर था तो मैंने ट्रस्ट किया कि जो इसमें है मैं एटलीस्ट एक बार उस पर एक साल ट्रस्ट करता हूँ और पढ़ता हूँ.
We like it.
तो आई थिंक सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट है कि आप एक सोर्स पे ट्रस्ट करो और उस पर स्टिक होके बस रिवाइज कर लो, तो आपको मतलब एंड में अच्छा ही कुछ मिलेगा. मतलब ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आप मल्टीपल सोर्सेज पे भाग रहे हो और फिर बार बार नए कोचिंग ज्वाइन कर रहे हो. उससे अच्छा आप एक पे ट्रस्ट करो और रिवाइज करो.
हमने कुछ स्टडी प्लान्स भी दिए हैं कोर्सेज में, राइट?
हाँ, मोस्टली मतलब कि आपने मतलब कि उनके लिए भी दिए हैं जो फुल टाइम प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं और उनके लिए भी जो वर्किंग है. तो आई थिंक सबके लिए वो थोड़ा बहुत मॉडिफाई करके वो काम करता है. बिल्कुल. तो आई थिंक उससे एक अपनी एक स्ट्रेटजी बना सकते हैं.
ठीक, थैंक यू सो मच.
सर आप आईटी खड़गपुर बैकग्राउंड से सीधे मेरी क्यों चूज किया?
सर ऐसा था कि मेरे घर वाले मतलब मम्मी पापा पहले जब से 10th में था ना, तब से वो चाहते थे कि यूपीएससी करूँ मैं. और मेरा मतलब बचपन में था 10th के बाद कि ठीक है मैं करूँगा, पर कॉलेज के बाद मेरे को मतलब थोड़ा फाइनेंस में इंटरेस्ट आ रहा था और यूपीएससी में इंटरेस्ट उतना नहीं था. तो फिर ये ऐसा हुआ कि मेरे और पापा के बीच डिस्कशन हुआ, ऐसा बात हुई, मैंने उनको बताया कि आरबीआई से भी दोनों हैं. तो फिर वहाँ से कॉमन ग्राउंड निकला, ठीक है तुम इस पर भी जा सकते हो. मतलब ऐसा हुआ कि उनको मैंने मनाया इसके लिए. तो फिर एंड में ऐसा हुआ कि सेबी और आरबीआई दोनों टारगेट था.
Hello everybody, welcome back to EduTap. Today in the success story of SEBI, we have Sudhanshu Tiwari with us. So Sudhanshu, formal welcome to EduTap.
Thank you, sir.
Again, we have done a lot of sessions with you, get to know also, and some prize ceremony also. But a very basic question, how is the feeling right now?
Sir, currently I'll say it's been almost 22 days now since result. So yeah, but still the excitement is here, and I'm still feeling like the day when I was worried about the result, and today I'm like here selected. So yeah, I'm
It
very
feels
excited.
good, right?
Yeah,
Tension निकल गई.
टेंशन चली गई है बिल्कुल.
Right, and take me through that day जब result आया तब आप कहाँ थे?
सर उस दिन तो ऐसा हुआ कि पहले मतलब मैं शाम को वेट कर रहा था 5 बजे तक कि रिज़ल्ट आएगा, बट सडनली फिर ऐसा हुआ कि लोगों में होप चली गई कि अब रिज़ल्ट नहीं आएगा.
नहीं आएगा.
फिर मैंने सोचा लेट्स गो फॉर बैडमिंटन, और मैं बैडमिंटन खेलने चले गया. और खेल के मैं घर आया शाम को, और बस टेलीग्राम खोला वापस से इसी होप में कि शायद रिज़ल्ट आया हो, और वहाँ पे मैसेज आए हुए थे कि इन आउट इन आउट. तो आई थिंक उससे बिल्कुल वो हार्ट बीट अचानक से 72 से 100 पता नहीं कितनी पहुंच गई होगी. फिर मैंने बस रिज़ल्ट खोला, और लकीली जो पीडीएफ के बीच में बिल्कुल नंबर था वो मेरा ही रोल नंबर था, तो सर्च नहीं करना पड़ा. और फिर उसके बाद मैं बिल्कुल 2 मिनट तक ब्लैंक था कि मैं क्या करूं, और फिर फाइनली मैंने ऐसे 10 मिनट का रोने का सेशन किया कि बिल्कुल चिल्लाने का.
राइट. और ये जो आपने अभी बताया ये ज़िंदगी भर आपके साथ रहेगा, बिकॉज दिस मोमेंट कैन नॉट बी क्रिएटेड. Right?
बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल.
Now Sudhanshu, I know you, like we have done some sessions also with you, get to know specifically. You know that you have some failures in your life, specifically like PFRDA1, which was like a heartbreak for you.
Yeah.
So first I will ask you a very general question, like how do you tackle failure? Like Sudhanshu failure से कैसे deal करता है?
Sir, mainly I have seen like failures maybe in PFRDA as well as in RBI 2023 also.
Right.
So in PFRDA it was like not a very serious attempt, so I probably was sad for 2 days, and then I thought okay, let's continue ahead with preparation. But I think RBI in 23 was a major setback.
Okay.
Because I was like I missed a cutoff by 0.75. So
0.75,
yeah.
which is a marginally very close,
Yeah.
right?
So I was kind of sad for maybe 1 week, and then maybe it was my father like who told me कि लर्न फ्रॉम द फेलियर्स, और इतना दुखी मत हो उस फेलियर से कि वो कुछ सिखा के नहीं जा रही. सो आई थिंक दैट्स द थिंग, लाइक लर्निंग फ्रॉम द फेलियर्स एंड जस्ट
learning from the failures and not doing the same mistake again.
Yeah.
Right? Cool. So let's come to the main part of the story, which is SEBI, because you are now SEBI Grade A officer. Right? First of all, an engineer, and let me tell you my friends that this student and this particular guy over here has scored all India rank of 22, and he has cracked SEBI in the very first attempt. एक engineer होके first attempt में SEBI crack करना is like a very big achievement. So like how does SEBI came into your picture? Because for an engineer you have multiple options. तो SEBI आपकी ज़िंदगी में कैसे आ गया?
सर ये मेनली ऐसा था कि कॉलेज के बाद कॉलेज के सेकेंड ईयर में थोड़ा फाइनेंस और इकोनॉमिक्स में इंटरेस्ट था मेरा, और उसके बाद घर वालों को थोड़ा था कि यूपीएससी ट्राई करूँ मैं. और इसी बीच फिर अराउंड 21 में सेबी और आरबीआई के बारे में आई गॉट टू नो. एंड देन आई टोल्ड माई फादर अबाउट ओके कि सेबी में क्या होता है, आरबीआई में क्या होता है. एंड I tried to convince him कि it is similar to UPSC and let me give it a try. And finally I convinced my father, and like I also thought okay, let's start preparing for both, as it is aligned with my interest, as well as like okay, my father is also happy that I'm doing for it.
Right. So cool. So you make SEBI as your top priority, right?
Yeah, after 2022.
Right. And जब आपका SEBI मतलब हो गया कि ये करना ही करना है, so did you waited for notification या पहले से ही पढ़ाई start कर दी थी?
So, I knew that a notification might come this year or maybe after 1 year, and it was not a wise decision to wait for the notification.
Right.
So as soon as I made the decision, I started looking for because I was an outsider for at least finance sector. So I thought of looking for any guidance.
Right.
And like maybe from some videos and some Google search, I got to know about EduTap.
Right. So basically you started early and
Yeah.
you are now getting good rewards for it.
Yeah,
Right. So this is the advantage, viewers. Please start early. Do not wait for notification. जब notification आना होगा तब आ जाएगा. Right. You have to focus on yourself right now. Now, Sudhanshu, let's say that notification is now released.
Yeah.
So once notification came out, आपकी कितनी preparation हो चुकी थी?
Once the notification was there, I think around May.
हाँ.
Like my management and finance was done.
Right.
And I was like good in costing, so I knew the basics of costing and I had studied. The only problem that I was facing was microeconomics
Okay.
and the Companies Act. So those were the
Right.
subject where I was weak. I knew I needed to
Right. And did you do finance and management for RBI?
when I was doing finance and management, mainly I tried to do from both perspectives, like
Okay. Like RBI में भी काम आ जाएगा,
common,
SEBI
yeah,
में भी
correct,
आ
दोनों में
जाएगा.
सिलेबस कॉमन था.
Right.
और सेबी में वो 4 HRD के जो चैप्टर एक्स्ट्रा थे,
हाँ हाँ.
वो मैंने एक बार पढ़ा था, पर उसका रिवीजन ऐसा नहीं था क्योंकि उसमें मोस्टली जनरल क्वेश्चन आते हैं विच कैन बी टैकल्ड विदाउट मच प्रिपरेशन.
राइट. तो अपने फाइनेंस और मैनेजमेंट नोटिफिकेशन से आने से पहले ही खत्म कर दिया था, विच इज़ अगेन अ वेरी गुड स्ट्रैटेजी फ्रॉम योर एंड. नाउ लेट मी ब्रेक दिस इंटरव्यू फॉर अ वेरी मच ईजी पर्पस. लेट स्टार्ट विथ phase 1. Okay, in phase 1 we have paper 1. I think for an engineer, that too from IIT Kharagpur, QRE was not a big issue, right?
Yeah, correct. सेबी में issue.
SEBI में नहीं था because you don't have that much level like QRE which you see in RBI. So I will not discuss about quant reasoning in English. बहुत ही basic आता है which you can do from multiple sources including EduTap. But current affairs को कैसे tackle किया आपने?
So current affairs mainly, मैं थोड़ा worried था कि हाँ, like I was trying to see if I need to do current affairs for maybe 1 month or 2 months, because I was sure that in QRE I'll be able to maybe manage 30 to 40 marks.
Right.
And whatever additional I need, I thought to put the efforts on the paper 2.
Right.
And in the end, I just decided like, okay, I'll go with maybe current affairs of last 6 weeks. And I just did the revision session on the YouTube and maybe the MCQs.
Revision session as in marathons वगैरह.
Marathons, yeah.
Right. So current affairs के लिए भी कोई ऐसी specific preparation
Specific नहीं.
नहीं थी.
Correct.
राइट. बिकॉज जो आपका पेपर 1 है उसकी कट ऑफ ही 30 जाती है. सो और 100 नंबर का पेपर है, 30 आराम से भी आ सकता है.
Correct.
राइट. सो सेबी पेपर 1 आई थिंक इज सॉर्टेड फॉर ऑल द इंजीनियर्स बिकॉज इंजीनियर्स आर वेरी गुड इन क्वांट रीजनिंग एंड इंग्लिश. राइट. और करंट अफेयर अगर आप नहीं भी करो तो भी यू कैन क्लियर द पेपर 1 कट ऑफ.
But still, I think अगर मतलब in last days I started getting afraid maybe I'll miss the cutoff due to current affairs. So I just did the marathons
Yes,
and
just for
everywhere,
safety purpose,
So
right?
I think you should take maybe 1 month at least seriously.
Right. So if you are very weak in quant reasoning and English, then take the help of current affairs. This is what he wants to say, right? Now, I would say phase 1, paper 2 has like multiple components, commerce and accounts, costing and all that thing. So were you doing an integrated preparation? क्योंकि ये सारे subjects आपके phase 2 में भी काम आने थे. तो was there an integrated preparation?
Yes, sir. It was kind of an integrated preparation where I wanted to check like what is my score coming in like basically phase 1 only. So that will give me a confidence for phase 2.
Right.
So the aim was to get maximum marks in
paper 2.
paper 2 and complete the syllabus.
राइट. सो कोई एक ऐसा सब्जेक्ट था जो आपका इनकम्प्लीट रह गया हो एग्जाम में जाने से पहले?
आई थिंक फेज 1 में इकोनॉमिक्स का ISLM कर्व स्टिल इनकम्प्लीट ही रह गया था. I was not good in that. I don't know why I was not able to understand, and I always I was afraid kind of whenever I started reading. I felt like, okay, let's skip this.
Right.
Always skip.
Cool. So let's start with commerce and accounts first, because I think interviews में people come to listen the strategy of a topper. So let's start with commerce and accounts. Like for an engineer, I think this will be one of the technical subjects along with costing.
Yeah.
So how did you start it from commerce and account? Tell me or discuss something like which a newer, like if a new person is listening to you, he can also follow like some strategy and he can also develop his or his excellencies in commerce and accounts.
For an engineer like me, like I was not aware of the basics of the commerce and accounts. So, and reading a book was not an option for me because I was working. So I started with the videos that were available in EduTap. So
Right.
4-5 chapters are like basically not important from exam perspective, but they are important to build basic.
Yes, because in the basic chapters like journal, ledger,
yeah.
if you do not understand what is journal, if you do not understand what is accounting, then accounting standards कहाँ से समझ में आएगा? So it's a very good point. Continue.
So basically, I had given almost like 2-3 hours a day for those chapters. Maybe when notification was not released.
Not released.
So I just tried to build the basics there, and once the basics were like okay, then I moved to next chapters, and further chapters were I think okay. Once you either watch video or go through the notes, it was easy to grasp.
Right.
So mostly it was the first 5 chapters which was difficult for me.
Yes, and then your journey becomes easy.
Yeah.
Because ratios में वही same है, cash flow statement, income statement,
all
balance sheet, all that same saga continues.
Continue.
Now, over here I also wanted to ask you the importance of numerical. क्या आपने numericals भी लगाए commerce and accounts में?
So commerce and accounts में जो basic numericals होते हैं ratios के, I think वो तो repeatedly आ रहे थे.
Right.
तो उसको miss करना was not a wise thing. So I solved numericals from whatever like mostly solved examples. But yeah, I kept in mind like if the numerical was too tough, maybe lengthy of 1 page, then I used to just see and skip.
Because वो एग्जाम में भी नहीं होने वाला.
Correct नहीं आता.
Right. और अगर आप बस उसको देख के समझ लोगे तो it's more and good.
Yeah.
It's more good for you because your knowledge will increase, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Cool. और commerce and accounts पे कोई tips हो आपके पास?
So commerce and accounts में maybe those who are not from commerce and commerce background,
yes.
commerce and accounts.
Yes. कोई नहीं.
So probably they need to give some time mostly for basic chapters, and I will suggest like you should give time when the notification is yet to be released, so that you don't have the stress of time like
Right.
I have less time and I don't need to devote this much time. So
Right. So it's like starting early has a good
starting early
advantage.
for outside.
Right. और जब आपकी job लग चुकी थी, right? जब आपने start
Correct.
भी किया था. So
Already
you were like a working aspirant.
I was like working
Right.
for 1 year.
So how did you manage your time? I will come to costing a bit later, but इसी बीच में हम लोग ये discuss कर लेते कि आपने time कैसे निकाला job से? And he was having a very hectic job. He was like handling some calls from US also. You told me. So his job was hectic. So कैसे आपने manage किया?
So mainly I used to go like leave for office around 8 or 8:30, and then
8:30.
yeah, morning, and I was mostly back from office by 7.
Okay,
6:37.
So it's like good. It's like
So,
a very good number of hours,
yeah.
I would say.
And on maybe 1 or 2 to 3 days, I used to have calls from US or Mexico. So that was around 9, 8.
Okay.
So main like how I was facing issue, like I was not getting time after coming from office.
Right.
So I thought, okay, let me try waking up early.
Right.
So I started taking out early, like early morning time, maybe 2 hours, and evenings like I used to do. I used to sit like have 2 laptops, one my working laptop and nearby my.
EduTap.
So whenever I was having meeting where my presence is not required, I used to put down headphone and then start reading and switch from this.
Right. So it's like multitasking. You are
Yeah.
making sure that your office commitments are also
Yeah.
fulfilled, and you are also fulfilling your own personal
right.
commitments. And this is what I always say to the young students, that you have the liberty to do multitasking. Office is also important
Yeah.
because you are earning salary from it, but at the same end you also have to pursue your goals. Now let's come back to the, I would say, costing. Okay, commerce and accounts, I think the same strategy you followed for phase 2 as well, right?
Yeah, right. So,
So now let's come to costing. Costing again, I know that you have some interest in costing, but still for an engineer to say कि मेरे को costing पसंद है, I was like totally awestruck. So कैसे मतलब costing में interest बना आपका?
सर मेनली आई थिंक 2 रीज़न है. एक तो जब मैं कॉलेज में था तब भी एक सब्जेक्ट था जिसमें बेसिक्स ऑफ कॉस्टिंग हमको पढ़ाया गया था, तो वो मैंने पढ़ा था. और फिर जॉब में भी लाइक एक पर्टिकुलर टास्क था जिसमें जहाँ से मैंने स्टार्ट किया था कि बेसिकली वी वर इन कन्वेयर डिज़ाइन, एंड देयर वी हैड टू प्रोवाइड कॉस्ट एस्टिमेशन और लाइक टाइम एस्टिमेशन. सो देयर आई स्टार्टेड knowing about like what are the type of costs that we are estimating, then we are giving quote for the sales. So there I learned basics of costing, and when I learned the same thing in EduTap course for this SEBI, I like started having interest, like okay, it is easy, I understand this thing, so it will be easy.
Right. And costing के लिए भी you followed all the chapters which are given in the course.
For costing, I didn't follow the videos because I was good.
Yes, so you follow notes only.
Yeah.
And for commerce and accounts and for costing, we have provided multiple MCQs in the course also.
Yeah.
So you solved all of them?
Like in by the end of phase 2, I think, when I was preparing for phase 2, so I had at least gone through all the questions.
Okay.
Even if I was not solving.
Explanation देखा होगा.
Right.
Cool,
So at
cool.
least
So that's the power of MCQs, I think, which you should learn from him.
Basically, MCQs are the savior for phase 1 as well as phase 2, because the more MCQs you solve,
The
you'll
better
have
you
that. I think you get that
Confidence.
sense. Okay, like
Yes.
okay, this will be the right answer sometimes,
Right,
just by
right.
looking at the options.
So it's like you are taking the risk abilities also. Cool. And again, costing, maybe I think you were well sorted.
Costing was
Commerce and accounts, you have built your base.
base.
Now let's come to another technical subject, which is your Archie's heels, that is economics. Economics में क्या journey रही?
Economics में the main problem that I was facing is like I was okay with macroeconomics and some like Indian economy side also I was okay, but microeconomics, like I lost touch. I had studied in college, but I didn't give proper attention, and for RBI also it was not needed. So I used to skip the microeconomics part.
So your macro was good,
Good.
and to an extent Indian economy was good, but your micro was kind of bit weak.
Yeah. So I was always like on skipping mode. Okay, let's skip this, and if 2 or 3 questions come, we'll skip.
Right.
But I think after phase 1, I had this fear that if ISLM curve or these things will come, I'll surely mess
lose
up.
some marks.
Yeah.
Right. And for that, what did you do? Like
For
you tell me.
ISLM, I'll
Yes.
seriously say, like I tried to read the notes and then videos also. But I think before phase 2, Kritika ma'am uploaded some maybe MCQs,
Yes,
and there she explained ISLM curve in much easier way to me. that was the base for me now.
Right.
I used to refer the same video again, and whenever I was in doubt, okay, ISLM curve, I used to go to refer same video of Kritika
Right.
ma'am.
So again, Kritika ma'am is very famous
For
in EduTap.
economics, yeah.
Huge shout out to her. Now for economics, your micro was only the weak one.
Yeah.
But again, did you follow all the same procedure like MCQs, revision, and everything?
Sir, what I used to do after phase 1, I used to do lot of MCQs for revision, because like maybe I was good in concept, but when it came to selecting one option, I used to make mistakes. So I followed this strategy. Like in first revision, I used to do the quiz 1, and second revision, I used to just look at the answers and then do quiz 2.
Right.
I almost did all the
Almost like all the MCQs which
at
are
least
there in
once,
course. So again, like if you complete a gold course, then definitely it will give you a lot of knowledge, I should say. Right?
And for an like for any person who is not having background in those field, I think MCQs are best strategy to
Test.
and revise.
Right. Cool. Now let's like I think finance and management, let's take it together only because you are preparing for RBI only.
Yeah.
So for management, which is pure theory, like there are multiple theories in management. How did you cover, like I think you are an engineer, so you will be able to give a good answer because you engineer studies a lot. But still management is like very boring, isn't it? Or was it interesting for you?
So, like the first theory was Maslow's hierarchy.
Yes, Maslow.
And when I was reading, I was going through this existential crisis, like why, like I have now decent amount of money. What is the purpose of life? So Maslow's theory was kind of eye opener for me. So after I studied, I used to tell my friends also, this is how we proceed in life. So I think that was a good point.
Right,
So
right,
I
right.
found it interesting, and maybe after going through the other chapters, and I used to follow video because for reading management was kind of slightly boring, I'll say.
Right.
So I used to follow video and then understand using example. Okay, this is how it's happening in my office also. Like how the managers are. I used to rate my manager as either he's Democrat, autocrat.
He's autocrat,
Yeah.
laissez-faire, like
Yeah.
kind.
So-
So you made sure that the theoretical part becomes
Yeah.
interesting through real life application.
And
Brilliant.
because I was working in an organization where all these things were almost like visible, so I used to finally interesting.
Right. So management was boring, but it became interesting for this way.
Yeah.
Cool. And what about finance?
Finance, like I had taken one elective course during my graduation.
Okay.
So I think that had built a base. Like I was aware about the cash flow statement, what is cash flow, what is balance sheet, but I was not having the detailed understanding how like it is made and what are the components in it. So I think that basic understanding helped me to start like quickly. grasp
Okay.
quickly.
So like basic again has to be done.
Yeah, basic.
Right.
If I was having the basically benefit that I had taken the course, but if you are someone who has not taken the course, then I think it makes sense to start early and make a
Yes.
solid base.
And there are many free courses. Like we are not saying that purchase EduTap course only, but we are telling you that
Make-
a course can give you a direction, right?
Correct. Yeah, for anyone
Right.
who is not having background.
Right. So now comes the last topic. Then we will discuss the journal topics. Companies Act, full of numbers, full of data, full of unnecessary things. I would say not unnecessary, but you read Companies Act, but I don't think वो knowledge कहाँ काम आएगी, right? So how did you tackle Companies Act?
So Companies Act, when I started, like just went through the syllabus, I thought, okay, there are 4 chapters. Okay, ये तो हो जाएगा. There are only 4 chapters. But when I went through the details, so
Right.
it had like so many terminologies. Like I was not able to understand what it is trying to say, even if it is single statement. Then I realized I need to seriously watch videos only. Then only I'll be able to understand.
Right.
Then I started watching for one page also, like videos multiple times. So probably Companies Act was one thing which if I was not following any video or content, I would have not got marks.
Right. So
And
just
I'll say, yeah.
like following videos, again
Following
building
videos.
your basics. So I think one of the most important thing is to build your basics. Start
awesome.
early and build your basics, right? Now let's come to one very important topic. We have discussed all the 6 subjects, right? Now let's come to an important topic, which is note making. Many students ask me, sir, should I prepare notes because you have given notes? So what was your view? Like, did you made any notes out of Companies Act, economics, anything?
So I'll say subject wise. Maybe first the Companies Act, because there are like many sections and numbers, so we tend to forget.
Right.
So what I used to do after reading every chapter, I used to just grab one page, A4 size, and then write all the sections that I can remember with maybe 1 or 2 word, like what was the section about.
Okay.
Like 125 is for IEPF.
Right.
So I used to just remember those things and write. And probably this way I started making notes for Companies Act. And similarly, I think for costing, there used to be like terms.
Yes.
What is routing?
Marginal costing, standard
different-
costing, lean system.
So sometimes
Right.
we used to, like I used to forget them.
Right.
So what I did, I used to write whatever term was coming. Like 5S was also like sometimes coming, but you don't remember 5S, what
Right,
is
right.
for 1S, 2S. So I used to write those things. So for costing, it was like whatever was like I was missing, I used to write that.
So basically, for Companies Act and for costing, you made notes, not for any other thing else.
No. For management, like
Okay.
it was mainly based on just theory, because if I remember the theory name, I used to understand, okay, what is inside this. So I used to write theory's name and then just recall maybe, okay, Maslow's theory has 5, then ERG, this way.
Yes.
And then for finance, it was only about like formula, like where we have ratios particularly. And if there was confusion.
Right. So you made notes basically. Cool. So note making is still alive in this particular digital age, I think.
In the end, it will help. I think.
Yes. And in the end, it will help in revision. Now let's
Revision,
talk
yeah.
about revision also. Like, see, covering MCQs is not enough. You also have to revise them.
Right.
Same, note making is not enough. You have to revise it.
Revise them.
So how did you revise during phase 1 and phase 2?
During phase 1, like I did not take any leaves. So
Okay.
not even a single day. So probably it was only, I used to divide subjects like, okay, in morning I have to revise maybe economics, and then evening I have to revise some other subject.
Right.
But Companies Act was one subject which was like I was afraid of. So I used to read it daily, maybe in office when I was having breakfast, half an hour. So
Right.
this was strategy for Companies Act. And for other subject, I used to like, if it was maybe 1 week before, then I used to just scroll through notes because I had already understood.
Right.
So it was just like scrolling quickly through the notes.
And how many times you would have scrolled the same notes? Any number, any random number, I mean.
For Companies Act, like I have revised multiple times, so I can say maybe Companies Act I have seen 20 times.
20
Particularly
times.
I'll say Companies Act because
Right.
I was not able to recall all the things.
So 20 times seeing Companies Act.
Yeah.
Like, was it rewarding on the D-Day?
Yeah, Companies Act, I think I correctly answered all questions.
Right. So this is the power of revision, I think, and benefit of revision also.
Yeah. For
So it's like
subject like
revision is must, right? Do you agree?
Yeah.
Right. And there are multiple, ways to do revision. Like you did revision through MCQs and notes. So is there any other technique which you would like to share with our viewers, which you want to share with them so that they can also do revision? Any specific which is coming only from Sudhanshu?
So I think I used to write topics in maybe a diary. Whenever I was reading, I was just writing topics. And when I was going to sleep, sometimes I used to just see the topics. So I think
Right.
that was kind of like it gives some memory to the subconscious mind. Maybe
Right.
we remember topics.
Cool. So you can also follow this technique. Now, many students also ask me this, Sudhanshu. It's like I'm taking all the major doubts of student only. Like, were you preparing any timetable? Timetable as in like I will do this subject and do that subject, and were you able to follow that timetable?
So, like I used to do journaling daily. So I used to write at least what I'm going to do tomorrow and which subject I'm going to do tomorrow and whatever other activities.
Right.
So that was my kind of habit. So I used to prepare a strategy, maybe weekly strategy, that I'll follow economics for this much time and then finance for other time. But maybe 50 to 70% of the time I was able to follow, and sometimes there used to be some subject and demotivation, frustration.
Right.
So it was not always
Right. So you can see, my viewers, even if you are able to follow 50 to 70% of your timetable, it's good to go, because nobody is able to do all the 100% targets, right?
Correct.
So it's better to accept that you cannot do all the things, but you can do majority of things. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा कर सकते हैं. Now there is one more topic which I want to talk is passion and dedication. Like, what was your view, and like how did you followed your passion? Because you were having multiple exams, right? RBI भी दे सकते हैं. अगर SEBI नहीं होता तो क्या पता आप RBI दे रहे होते आज. तो वो पैशन और डेडिकेशन आ रहा था प्रिपरेशन के थ्रू. और बिकॉज अगर आप देखोगे SEBI का नोटिफिकेशन आया था, लाइक उन लोगों ने एक नोटिफिकेशन निकाल दिया था, देन इलेक्शंस हुए तो डिले हो गया. सो इट वाज अ ह्यूज गैप, लाइक फेज 1 फेज 2 बहुत टाइम बाद हुआ है. सो हाउ डिड यू रन योरसेल्फ, क्योंकि आपने तो पहले भी स्टार्ट कर दिया था. सो हाउ डिड योर प्रिपरेशन केप्ट ऑन गोइंग एंड गोइंग?
So I think mainly like I was having job, so I knew if I'm missing for maybe 1 week continuously, then I'll have to start again from maybe not
Right.
0, maybe 10. So I was maybe at 50% level always.
Okay.
That I was prepared 50%. So the only motivation was to not fall below 50%. And I used to just maybe, even if notification is not coming, nothing is happening, I used to just revise maybe 1 or 1.5 hour.
Right. So it's basically like you keep
Phase.
yourself in the
Phase.
zone,
Yeah.
phase, right? So that kabhi bhi kuch hue to you can bring back your strategy. Now let me talk to you regarding one more component, which is English descriptive, which I think we forgot. Phase 2 paper 1. Again, like it's 1/3 only of your total marks, but still it contributes a lot. So any combined strategy for essay, Pressy and RC?
So like most of us are usually not writing in a proper way. Usually like those who are working may be replying mails or something, but that is always like there is grammar check or something. But we make mistakes. I used to make mistakes. So the only solution is to write. Even if you're writing maybe 200 words a day, or sometimes if you're writing 600 words, you should write. Like you read and maybe just write it on a notepad and check on Grammarly what's your score.
Right. So you just have to keep on writing, right? And many students ask me this doubt, because you were also from Hindi background, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Many students who are watching this, they have a kind of a doubt, कि मैं हिंदी background से हूँ, मैं कैसे English में लिखूँगा. So can you motivate them and can you share your experience through it?
Yeah. तो मैं मतलब मैंने अपनी 12th तक की पूरी एजुकेशन आई थिंक हिंदी में ही की है, और मतलब इंग्लिश जस्ट एक जनरल सब्जेक्ट था. तो 12th तक मैं भी मतलब कि हिंदी में ही सब कुछ पढ़ गया था. एंड like I was having fear, if I start writing or speaking, I'll make mistakes. And maybe once I started my work in corporate, I used to have this fear, like I was not good in communication, and maybe I'm still not perfect. But like I used to have this fear, and I was not writing. And when I started preparing for SEBI, this was like one step that I took, that I started writing. And when I started writing, my Grammarly score was like literally very bad. Even if I was writing at very nominal speed, I used to be around 30, 35. I used to make mistakes. But by the end, if I used to write at slow speed, I used to get close to 60, 65.
Right. So you targeted Grammarly score over here, right? And what is the maximum score which you received in Grammarly? Any rough guess?
Once I was writing very slowly after reading some probably it was some US dollar INR relation.
Right.
So I think it reached close to 68 maximum.
Okay.
But that was like I was writing maybe 10-20 words per minute very slowly
Okay.
by
Okay.
checking.
Cool. So it's the basic funda is that you have to keep on writing.
Yeah.
सोचने से कुछ नहीं होगा. You have to
Yeah.
keep on writing, right?
And you have to maintain speed also, so that is also one
Right,
factor.
but that will come with practice, I
Yeah.
think. The more you write, the better you become.
Yeah.
Right. Now let me take this interview forward to the last stage, which is interview. Interview in SEBI is of 15 marks.
Yeah.
Right. How was your preparation happening in interview first, and then we will go to the exact questions which you were like, which the panel members asked to you in interview. So how did the preparation happen?
For preparation, like I just like after the results were out, so I was having this fear like how to prepare for interview. But after the call letters were out, then I started realizing okay, like I started seeing a lot of videos of like previous interviews of SEBI as well as RBI, like what questions they're asking, and I understood okay, there are like maybe 3 kind of question. One is based on profile, another is on whatever is going on in either economy or related to SEBI, and third was like general application, like what will be how my skills will be useful for SEBI.
Right.
So based on that, I started preparing a question for me.
Okay.
And when I was preparing this, I got to know about this mock interview course by
EduTap.
yeah.
Yes, interview guidance program, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, interview guidance program. So there I started looking for basic etiquettes, and then I realized like I'm doing questions, but I don't know how to say no. Like even if I have to say no, I'll say no, sir, I don't know. But there is a proper way. Then I realized okay, like there are many etiquettes which I am missing, and that was one thing. And then I started worrying about the dress, like what should I wear, how should I go beardless, or that is one part of like interview preparation. So all these things went, and then finally I decided okay, I'll go in this only.
Right. And you also attempted the mock interview. Was it good?
Yeah, mock interview was kind of eye opener for one thing. Like I was having too much hand movement and basically eyes movement. So it might be happening today also, but it is not common. So those things I got to know, and I got to know like I'm slightly weak in basics of SEBI.
Okay.
So I prepared for like maybe 1 week for specific points which were highlighted in interview.
Right. And then came the actual interview. Okay.
Yeah.
So where was your interview?
My interview was on 21st November in Kolkata.
Place, Kolkata.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were well prepared, I think, because you have completed the entire IGP also and the mock interview. But still on the D-Day, you have those butterflies running in your stomach, anxiety hoti hai. So how did you tackle those things? Because many students, they are well prepared, even for phase 2, even for phase 1. But when they go on the examination center, they flutter. Like they are not able to do anything because of the tension and anxiety. So you would have also faced such things in phase 1 and in phase 2 and in your interview also. So how did you tackle those things?
So I think like for interview, everyone like we were made to sit in a conference room, and everyone like whoever was going for interview, they were like afraid or nervous. Like I think most of them were nervous, and when they were coming, so it was kind of like few were demotivated just before my turn was there. So I was like what they are asking, and like we asked one of the like candidates, so he said they are grilling too much and his interview maybe went for 25-30 minutes. Then I was afraid like I have not prepared like all the things properly, and I'm going to maybe mess the interview, and I was like worried. Then we were made to sit just like maybe beside the final interview room, and I was still stressed. But as soon as I went to the interview room, like the panel was very cordial, and they were like smiling and greeted. I greeted them, and they also like greeted properly. So it was kind of a relaxation. But yes, there is an like they were not grilling that day. I think to me, at least for me. But yeah, there is a nervousness, I'll say.
Okay, definitely. There is a nervousness, and you can follow multiple techniques to keep yourself calm. Okay. Now this completes our entire phase 1, phase 2 and interview. So it was a good, like the major thing which I learned from you is that to start for any exam, be it SEBI, be it RBI, or be it NABARD or Red Eye, you have to start early. You cannot wait for notification to come. And he has an advantage that he completed finance and management before, and then he focused on the basics of commerce and accounts. So start as early as possible. Now, Sudhanshu, I want to ask you regarding something like, can you share some tips for a person who is watching this interview for the very first time, like what tips which you would like to give to a person who is like just graduated from an engineering degree only, share some tips so that he can also start his journey related to any regulatory body, SEBI, RBI, both are good. So what are some golden tips which you would like to give him?
I think first tip will be to realize that maybe you are at a disadvantageous position compared to any person from economics or finance background, and you should realize this, that you are at slightly below level, and you should start early, first thing. And if you can if you have time and liberty to choose from books, you should go through them. There is no harm in that. But if you have time crunch and you want to complete things quickly, then you should look for some mentorship program that should like fast make your preparation faster.
Right. And outside you also mentioned about weekly mentor talks, right, with Anchit sir.
Yeah.
So how was that session happening?
I think like I used to join weekly mentor session, even if like the exam was not there. I used to just be on bed and just have the alarm for
Right.
session and join. So I used to get I used to get in perspective, like, okay, what problem others are facing and how
Right.
Anchit sir is handling
Offering a
them.
solution to
Yeah.
them. Right.
And I used to just get some hope. Okay, notification is about to come, or maybe if someone is stressed, what solution he is giving. So I used to never ask questions. Usually, I used to just listen.
So it's basically you learn from the problems of others.
Yeah, I used to be in bed and just listen. So
Right. And Sudhanshu, one more question before I move ahead towards the last question of our day. Like, is it important to have a course? Like, can a student, like I know many students who clear from self-study only, but is it important to have a course? Brilliant. Like, you can give your like spontaneous answer.
So I think for like what I'll say, course is maybe it is not necessary to clear, and someone can clear without taking course
Yes.
on. But I think if someone is having time crunch
Right.
and they want maybe well written notes or well prepared MCQ mocks, so I think any course or mentorship gives that.
Right.
And there is no harm if you are paying some like money and you are getting some valuable product.
Right.
So it's just
Cool.
like
But I will again say self-study is the best study which you can do, because many students do it. In self-study, you only need to have a lot of time with you. As Sudhanshu said, if you don't have time, then courses are available.
And even after taking course, I think like
Dedication
you need
is
to
required.
again study, because there
Right.
like the content will be vast, and you need to
Right.
cover that. Yeah.
Right. And in our course, the content is obviously vast, because many people, know us because of vast content. Now, Sudhanshu, last question before we wind up this interview. How is your future looking to you? Anything which you would like to say, like what you want to do in future?
I'll say first I want to basically learn now, as I'll be newcomer
Right.
there. So I want to learn maybe 2-3 years about
SEBI.
SEBI and its department, everything.
Right.
And maybe in future, like
Right.
there is definitely not a goal post right now, but I like to learn and then contribute maybe my engineering skills as well as whatever skills
Because
that I'm acquiring.
you are working in SEBI, so you will also contribute indirectly to the nation building
Right,
also. So that's it, my friends. This was Sudhanshu Tiwari, who has helped us in multiple nitty-gritties of SEBI Grade A exam. And again, he has cleared this exam in the very first attempt. So if you are an engineer, you can also do it. The only need is to start early, to make sure that you complete your concepts, and make sure that you are passionate enough. So thank you. Have a good day ahead.